All right, we are back. This is the One of None podcast, episode 3. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Jonah Casella.
And I am one of your other hosts, Dr. Andrew Ganung.
All right, and today we have an awesome topic. But before we get into that, I just want to thank you guys so much for all the support. It's been unbelievable. We've had way more viewership than we thought we were going to have. So we just want to thank you guys so much. Please keep listening. Soon enough, we're going to have stuff out on YouTube, the actual videos, and on Spotify. You can start watching us now as well with the podcast. And then Andrew has the Instagram page up. We'll be posting some clips on there. So stay tuned for that. Go follow One of None Pod on everything. And we'll be hitting all those up very shortly here.
Yeah. Thank y'all for all the listening y'all have been doing. We appreciate that so much. We've been able to grow significantly from y'all just sharing our stuff on social media. A lot of our friends are listening in Pennsylvania, in Florida, here in Jacksonville, and we have so many people all over just kind of listen to it to the point where we can literally start to monetize this thing, which is crazy to think about because we're only 2 episodes in. So it really does mean a lot when y'all share our stuff, because just one person seeing it, and we really didn't expect it to get as many views as it has, like Jonah says, and we'll probably say that every single time because we'll be blown away by how many people listen. But we hope this stuff provides you a lot of value. It provides us value. You know, we started talking about these things a long time ago, and we thought it was going to be a super cool thing to just record our conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we're doing. This isn't extra work for us. This is stuff that we love to do, regardless if we were recording or not. These are conversations we have on a pretty semi-regular basis or weekly basis currently. So we're just happy we get to do this and share our thoughts. We're not experts. We'll say that every time too. We're not experts on anything, but we have some stuff that has worked for us, and we have some pretty dang good work ethic, and we want to try and share what has worked for us and what we're currently working through too. So like we said, we appreciate y'all a lot, and we're excited for this thing to keep on growing. So
yes, sir. All right, without further ado, episode 3. This topic comes by the request of one of our friends, Josh Zam, so shout out to him. But we're going to talk about time management today. And time management is such an important topic and important to kind of master in order to be successful. So, one thing I'll just kind of jump right into is prioritizing. So this is really important for time management because, if you think about it, what are we talking about? We're talking about having goals, trying to meet our goals and be successful, whatever that is to you, whether that's your diet, your, just work ethic in general, going to the gym, whatever it is, being better in school or even at work. So you have to prioritize what's important and identify that and get rid of some of the other nonsense things that are taking up time and get rid of that. So if you start prioritizing the activities that really matter, like working out, eating better, whether that's meal prepping, which we'll talk about more, or whatever, by the end of the day, all the other stuff that you've that isn't as much of a priority that you put towards the end of the day, then eventually, you might have a little bit of time for it later, or you just stop doing those bad habits or, whatever it is, playing video games or whatever, you just kind of exit out without even meaning to. And now all of a sudden you're hitting all your goals because you've prioritized all these more important activities and got rid of the junk that's taken up time in your life.
yeah, that made me think about something cool was you just saying that, because one thing it's taught me, time management, is, or at least more recently, we've been handed a lot to us in terms of this podcast requiring our time. So you and I have been going back and forth on a pretty regular basis saying like, when are we going to get this done? Like when are we going to have the time to do this? So it's forced me to prioritize, because now, instead of having potentially an hour or an hour and a half in the past when I wasn't doing this pod with you, now I'm starting to prioritize this thing because there's so much that goes into it. It goes into the posting and the social media aspect of things, and like making sure that we're growing on YouTube and the Apple podcast, which I want to roll out too. And so that we can create a good experience, but that forces us to prioritize.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not like we're not masters of this at all. We're still working through the kinks, and I've said that before as well. And it's forced us to really start to prioritize. And you and I had a conversation earlier in the week where we said we're neglecting certain people in our life, or we're neglecting other things that are super important that we preach about. So we
Mhm.
better get our act together and make sure that we prioritize. So it goes perfectly along with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We've started to take on a side hustle, and that goes for anyone too. I have a lot of friends that are doing really, really well in their career, and they don't need to do a side hustle, but they're doing one, and they're creating the time for it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that want to do something as a side hustle and haven't taken that leap yet. It's going to force you to time manage correctly and efficiently to make sure that you are able to pursue those other passions of yours. And that's what it's doing for us right now. So I think it's definitely a hard pill to swallow when you realize that you have to cut out certain things, whether it's social media, which is a big part of what we are using right now to market ourselves. We have to, and that's going to be difficult too, because I'm on the very apps that I'm trying to
Oh,
cut out.
I was thinking about that too the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. And so something that I think is really good that you and I have talked about, Jonah, is do not disturb.
Hmm.
Putting your phone on do not disturb. And it's funny because in the past when I was in PT school or beginning my career as a staff clinician, I would always have my phone on do not disturb. And when I stepped into a management role, I can't turn my phone on do not disturb because I have to be able to answer my boss whenever he calls, or I have to be able to answer another clinic manager from a different region if they call and they need something from me or they need my assistance. And so that makes it difficult for me, but that is not an excuse. I can still that I just need to be better about putting it away in my downtime and cranking through the documentation, which you and I both experience in our
Yeah.
jobs.
I know.
The
Yeah.
documentation and the charting is it's such a big part of it. And if you fall behind in one little thing, it'll set you back for the whole week, which is
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Let's speaking of that, let's just spin off that and talk about how um wasting time with being on your phone, not getting up in the first 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour that your alarm goes off, how that compounds during the week.
Oh my
So
gosh,
I'll
yeah.
speak for myself and talk about my phone time because I'm human and I get on my phone at work, right? I'll be in between patients. Not that I have a bunch of time, but I'll be in between patients and I'll just go to check my phone just to see if anybody call me, what's going on, right? And then before I know it, I'm in Instagram in like the first 10 seconds that I have my phone in my hand. Like I don't even know what happens and I'm already in Instagram. Before I know it, I'm like 5 minutes into Instagram. I'm like, okay, I can't be doing this in general, even at home, but like at work especially. And so you compound that over, the course of the day, and you spend probably like 30 minutes to an hour on your phone. That's, of course, and you're at work, this doesn't apply to that. But when you're not at work, if you're at home, just playing around on your phone for 30 minutes or half an hour, or for 30 minutes or an hour, that's the time you could have spent at the gym.
Yep.
That's the time that you could have been meal prepping or whatever that you're trying to make time for.
Yeah.
So my big thing, I'm with you on that. Put the phone down, DNR, you know,
Yeah.
or
And
DNR. Do not
D&D.
disturb, not do not
Yeah.
resuscitate.
Yeah. And yeah, literally. I struggle with that. We talked about this before with me waking up. Oh my gosh, I set my alarm. I usually get up 4:45 or 5. And well, 5 and 5:15, let's say that. So I get up and I planned on going into the clinic early on Monday. Monday's my late day, for example. So I go to the gym. I wake up first thing 5 o'clock, go to the gym by 5:30, and I made it a point to do all that stuff early, so that or earlier than I usually do. I'll usually get roll to the gym around 5:45 or 6, but I wanted to get there at 5:30 because I wanted to get ahead. I usually run a lot of my reports on Monday, and that takes time, and I'm trying to send out some emails in the morning. So I tried to get there earlier so I could set myself up for success for the rest of the week, that I wouldn't have to do that stuff after work on on Monday. So what happened? I laid in bed, and that time period that I was supposed to be up, moving, and going to the gym 30 minutes early, I ended up just sitting there scrolling through my social media, wasting time. And I got to the gym at the very same time that I usually do. But instead, I ended up just waking up 30 minutes earlier than I should have. Instead of just, if I was going to use that time, I might as well use it to sleep or get up. And so, like, I just thought too much about it, which you and I love this saying is don't think. Don't think about it. Because the second you start thinking, then you're just going to fall into a trap of laying there and thinking about how much you hate the day that's about to happen, or how much you're dreading all the work you have to walk into at work.
So true.
You
Yeah.
know, that's just don't think about it. Just get up, be mindless about it, get up and move. Because if you just start walking in one foot after the next, you're going to get going with it. But if you sit there and think about all the stuff you have to do, then you're going to lay there and waste precious time that you could be being productive. You could be using to be productive.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love that.
Crushes
I love
me.
that so much. Yeah, I catch myself doing that all the time. And even if it's not just about waking up early, but just general tasks, like little stuff, even like I got to put the dishes away, or, this needs put away, or this needs cleaned. And then I'm thinking about, in general, I'm just thinking about it. I'm standing there, sitting there thinking about, well, what do I got to do? I got to do this, got to do that. And then I'm like, what? Okay, how about we just do it? Let's just go. And then it's one task, you finish that, you just jump into the next. Before you know it, you bang out all the tasks that you have to do in the same amount of time. If you would have sat there and just been thinking about it, you know, you just saved yourself 15 or 20 minutes,
Yeah. And
on
that,
that during the day. That
oh
adds
my
up.
God. Yeah. Yeah. If I get behind on documentation for one day, it sets me back. So guess what I've been doing all week? Catching up on documentation. And it's so frustrating because I have a student in the clinic right now who needs my attention. And if I'm sitting there cranking out documentation, I'm not giving her what she needs. Now, granted, she's helping me with my documentation and she's like scribing for me, but still, it's tough because then I take away from the more important things, like providing her the best educational experience that I can. Now, I'm not neglecting her by any means, but that is a potential if I'm lazy enough. And
Yeah.
that doesn't make for a good manager. It doesn't make for a good leader, because if I'm trying to lead these people by example, I better have my act together with that. And I better have my documentation in check. And I better be ahead of the game, because who's going to follow somebody who is just falling in a constant state of being behind, 5 steps behind of what they should be. That doesn't make for a good leader. And I hate that because some of my people can see that if I'm behind. Now, granted, things happen throughout the day. And
Yeah.
I don't, oh, that brings up another point too, Jonah, is like being very efficient with your time early in the day allows you for the spontaneity later in the day that
You
things
just
come
read my
up.
mind. Yeah. That's exactly what I was waiting for you to finish. That's exactly what I was going to say, because Andrew and I were talking about this outside of the podcast, but because we're both in situations where we have to do a bunch of charting, that's what he's talking about. And I literally get to work just like he does, half an hour, if not 40 minutes early every day, so that I can start working on my charts for the day and get caught up from the day before. Because if not, you just get so behind and it compounds throughout the week, and then you're drowning in charts. So, like, I get there half an hour, 40 minutes early, start banging out my charts for the day, just getting them like prepared and ready to go. And then if I have to finish anything from the day before, I clean everything up. So then it's like I'm ready to roll going into that day, and I'm not getting behind. And also, then my mind is clear. I know who's coming in. I know why they're going to be there. It's not flustered, and the day runs so smooth that way. So yeah, just being super efficient with my time that way makes such a difference for the
Yeah.
rest of the day.
And if you're in the medical field and you know this, whether you're a PT or you're an optometrist or whatever it is, whether you're in med school, we have a lot of friends that are in med school or finishing up med school, going into residency. It's like, and I mean, I have a I have a pretty busy schedule, but mine has a little bit of laxity behind it, for other reasons. But I have to be very efficient with my time early in the day because things pop up all the time. And that's what I was getting at with the medical field is if you're in the medical field, you know that nothing goes according to plan. Someone shows up late and then you're set behind. Yeah, I see you rolling your eyes because it's tough and
The
it's
worst.
tough, but you have to be able to adapt, and that you being flexible and being adaptable is a sign of a very patient provider, which we need to be in our field if you want to be a good provider at that. And if you want your people to do well underneath you too, then you have to adapt as well. And so if I'm behind from the 5 o'clock in the morning when my day starts, I'm already starting off on a bad note. And then what's going to happen when the spontaneity of the day comes around and I have to hop into a call, or I get a call from someone above me that needs to talk to me about something, and that I have to now communicate down the chain to my people. That's not allowing me the time to do that. And so I'm going to be so stressed. And
Yeah,
you end up taking work home with you, which
exactly.
is not great. I don't think
Yeah,
anyone wants to take work home with them. So,
and yeah, the exact same thing. Like just them showing up late is that just puts things in a blender. But then you have the emergencies that call. And so
hmm
then now you're working an emergency into your schedule, like in what I do. And so if I'm already behind in the day, don't have any charts done or ready or prepped, and now they're throwing an emergency in the mix of things, it's just like it flusters you. So not only is it a time thing, but now it's a mental thing. And then you carry that like, I'm already behind into the rest of your day. And if you haven't worked out or done any kind of like activity that you're trying to do or whatever your side hustle is, well, guess what? Now you don't really have time necessarily to do that. And you're mentally exhausted and drained to the point where you might not even want to do it in general or be motivated to do it. It just it builds up with your time and mentality too.
Jen, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you do when you have so much on your plate that you almost don't know what to do with, and you're stressed and you have all these things going on in your head, whether it's work stuff, whether it's patients that you don't know if you made the right decision on, or if you guided them the right way, or you feel like you're neglecting certain aspects of your life. What do you do in those situations? Are you the type of person that doubles down on their work and suffers, or do you kind of just let things be swept under the rug and you neglect certain things to get the work done, to prioritize the work or the other things that are occupying your mind?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like I'm definitely, if it's a priority and it needs to be done, it's going to get done.
Right.
And if it's overwhelming, it's overwhelming at the time, but you got to just get it done. If there's things that can be that are less priority, then I'll just let those go and finish up that whatever that is the next day or later that night or something.
Yeah.
But if there's a lot going on and it takes precedence over some other things, I'm going to prioritize what's important and get it done. And I'm the type of person that's like do it the right way the first time.
hmm
I don't want to have to go back and fix anything later. So I don't know if that
Yeah.
answers your question, but
No, that's great. And I was thinking about this as well, is whenever I'm anxious or I'm overwhelmed with stuff, I usually am the type of person that just likes to double down on my work. Like I just want to keep working until it gets done, and
mm,
I don't care what it really takes. And you answer the question. It's just I think you kind of made me that way too. Cause like in college when we were study together and we'd be up super late, that's the thing is we'd be up late to get it done. And not because we were behind or we didn't like use our time efficiently earlier weeks ahead of an exam or some type of assignment due, but we would do it when it was or we would go to bed or we would be done with it when it was done, when
yeah,
we completed the task.
I
Not
understand now what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah. And I mean you did answer it too. I mean I'm the same way as you, is I want it to be done right the first time, and that's it answers my question, because you I'm not going to half ass it. I'm not going to just do 50% of it or 75% of it and then have to revisit it the next day. Like I'm going to get it done whenever I need to get it done. And
yeah,
that's executing, and that's just not letting yourself skip a beat. It's a non-negotiable. It gets done. So, and I think that creates a really high standard for yourself with your time as well. If you prioritize it, get it done. It doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter what you have on your plate, make sure that you get it done. And that's relative too. If it's like a massive project and you decide to wait to the last minute to do it, that's your fault. Like, do you have no one else to blame besides yourself?
Right.
But if you have a workout, for example, and if it's 8 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night, screw it. If it's 12 o'clock, I don't
Yeah.
care what it is. I'm getting it done, and I'm
I
not going to
love
let
that.
myself.
I love that.
And yeah,
And I love what you said, not to interrupt you, but like the non-negotiable, like we kind
yeah,
of talked about. Something that I do to help me is I create non-negotiables just like you do,
yeah.
because I know you do that too. Where during that morning time or like earlier in the day when I'm thinking about what's going to happen when I get home, sort of thing. What's my workout going to be? Am I doing a workout? Blah blah blah. If I'm like, okay, I'm running and I'm running 5 miles after work today, like then it's for me, it's like that's it. It's a non-negotiable. It's done. So like no matter how I feel when 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm running 5 miles today. It's a non-negotiable. And I think that if you do that and you just don't even give your chance to think about it, and you just say, "This is it. This is what's going to happen." I'm not talking myself out of it because this isn't negotiable, and you just execute. You get so much more done, and it's not like you're feeling like anxiety about it because you're not thinking about it. You're just like, "Yep, got to do it. This is what we're going to do."
Mhm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's great because I think you're setting yourself apart from so many other people by just doing.
Absolutely.
And there's layers to it too. I would rather myself, you said earlier, I'd rather do it right the first time, which is 100% true. I would also rather do it than not do it all. So if you can't give for some reason your best at it, that's a crazy expectation because we obviously all want to give our best to everything we can. But if you are going to either do it or not do it, at least you get it done, whether it's 50%, 75%. Now, cut yourself some slack. I mean, it's 100% every single, like if I went balls to the wall every workout, then I'd be the most jacked. And if I meal prepped perfectly every time, if I stuck to my routines every single time, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now because everyone would be, you know what I mean? It's an
Right.
unrealistic expectation to go 100 miles
Yeah.
an hour every
Of
single
course.
second of the day. But that being said, getting it done and
Yeah.
it being, semi half-assed is better than nothing at all.
Yeah, and
And
this is something that I got from you actually, because you and I would be talking about dieting. Dieting is such a it's tough for me to stay completely strict all the time. But that's like that unrealistic expectation that you're always going to be like the most perfect dieter all the time. And then when you have like, a day on the weekend where you eat bad, then you feel guilty about it. And Andrew, that's something you taught me was the 80%, like 80-20 rule, like the averaging it out throughout the week in this specific example where it's like 80% of the week you're eating clean, relatively, and healthy. The 20% that you eat bad on the weekend is okay. You can give yourself that because your average is still better 80%.
yeah,
So I always love that. And that's kind of what I live by. And that seems to work for me because it takes some of the pressure off and makes me know that I'm not perfect
yeah.
but I can still get the results I want, even though it's not perfect.
I
And
mean,
also
yeah,
going
yeah,
back to
go.
what you said before that, where you said just do it. If it's even if like you just can't give it your all, but like giving some is better than none. So for example, I think I brought this up to you. This was a few weeks ago when we were before we even started the podcast actually, and we were talking about doing the podcast and whatnot. And I was coming up with like things to talk about. I was doing a run and it was a run. It was really hot. I hadn't ran in a while since I did the big race, and um, I I don't know why, but I set this kind of unrealistic pace expectation in my mind, and I got out there and I felt like my legs weighed 1,000 pounds. The first mile felt awful, absolutely terrible. I felt so slow, and all I wanted to do was just quit. I'm like, I'm not even gonna reach the pace that I want. What's the point of this? I might as well just go back and be done with running today. And then I was thinking to myself, like, just finish it.
Yeah,
Even if it's not what you thought it was going to be or what you planned it to be, just finish it. You know, there's so much value in that and just doing it. And I felt
com-
so good afterwards, even though I wasn't near what my goal was, but I didn't give up. And I think that's really important for people to understand. And I know we're kind of going off on a tangent. We're supposed to be talking about time management. We'll kind of bounce back into that, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. No, I mean it all ties together though. This all ties together. Everyone wants to. The idea behind time management is being able to execute on tasks that are going to get you closer to your goal, whatever your goal is. Like you talked about in the beginning of the pod, is it losing weight? Is it gaining muscle? Is it getting the promotion? Is it starting a side hustle? Is it trying to do extra work for your 9 to 5 to grow that and get more recognition from the people above you? And all it comes down to is execution. So that's what it is maintaining routines and staying deep in it. And speaking of routines, I think I'm going to start 75 hard end of September.
Are you?
So yeah, I'm going to start 75 hard end of September probably. And I there's a lot of non-negotiables in there. There's
Oh, yeah.
reading 10 pages, drinking a gallon of water, 2 workouts, all these different things. And you have to create a non-negotiable. Now, and if you want to hit me up about this too. I want to get as many people in on this as I can because I think it's good. It's a good accountability piece to it. If you are doing it with other people, I said this in previous podcasts, but having someone to go the distance with you is huge. And not to say you can't do it alone. I think there's a lot of awesome things that come through suffering alone. But if you can suffer with others, I think it makes it that much more rewarding to be able to do it alongside people. And so if you're thinking about wanting to do 75 hard, hit me up and then we can go through it. We can start talking a little bit about what that entails and holding people accountable with all that stuff. And that's going to create a good habit for me. And that's hopefully I'm going to be able to compound from that. I'm not going to do that 75 hard and then just like forget about what I just did. Hopefully what it does is it creates a lot of routine and lifestyle changes for me that are a little bit more rigid. And I like to think that I'm pretty rigid right now in my routines, but I'd like to even be better than that.
Yeah.
So that's the
I
ultimate
like that.
goal is not to just forget. Like you're not going to suffer 75 days worth of crushing 2 workouts a day and reading your book and drinking a gallon of water. That's stuff that people struggle with. And so I'm not going to just do 75 days and then forget. And to that too, I think you said it takes 21 days to develop a habit, right?
Mhm.
It's 20 something days. If you don't want to do 75 hard and you can't figure out a way to suffer for 21 days, 3 weeks of just sticking to it, if you can't forget about drinking, if you can't forget about staying off your phone for 21 days alone, then I don't know how we can help you because you need to just be able to stick to it. No one's coming to save you. I'm sorry if that sounds hard, but no one's coming to save you. You need to have accountability for yourself and hold yourself accountable to your goals, or you are not going to reach your goals. No
Yeah.
one's coming to set them and do everything for you. You're not going to have someone, your assistant, wake up for you in the morning and go to the gym. If you want to get an insane body or start a side hustle and be a millionaire one day, no one's coming to help you out. Sorry to
Yeah.
say it, but you need to create some accountability in your life. And so I'm not saying 21 days is easy to do. I'm not going to say that. It's hard for people to do. It's going to be hard for me to do. But hold yourself accountable to it. Give
Yeah.
it to yourself and make yourself suffer for 21 days. And if you can do that, you can do 75 hard. Use it as a compounding thing. If you can't do 75 days, do 50. Build up until you can do 75 days. The guy who started that thing has done it like every single year since he started it, like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So
And the thing is, all the stuff that we talk about, right, is not complicated stuff. There's no secret sauce to being successful and whatever that means to you.
yeah,
It's just about being disciplined and caring enough to just do it.
yeah,
Like he's saying, that's all there is to it. You have to just execute, and it's gonna suck, and you have to accept that. That's one of the things that I think helped me a lot. Is something I call just accepting the suck and embracing the suck,
yeah,
and it's something that I'm a big believer in running. I think running just does so much for you mentally, physically, of course, too, but mentally. because running just sucks. And nobody loves. I don't know. Maybe people love it, but I like it to an extent. But running just sucks, and it builds so much character because you learn to embrace the suck, expect the suck, and deal with it. And that's something I love. And I sent this to Andrew the other day after I did an 8 mile run on a Monday after work just for fun. And I was just like, just normalizing the suck. That's something I love to say now.
Yep.
So if you can start normalizing the suck, then you're gonna be good for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And if it sounds like we're going on a tangent, this all ties back into time management, because time management is going to consist of a lot of small habits that you compound throughout the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And to help yourself with that, another point that has really helped me is having a calendar.
yeah.
Not just for like a calendar for events that you have coming up, right? Like everybody has, but even the calendar, like a daily schedule almost that you could have, where it's like, you got your morning routine. You're blocking in 30 minutes for a workout in the morning, getting shower, eat, go to work, come home, whatever you're doing in the afternoon, spending time with family. That all applies. Those little, any little bit of time that you're trying to plan out, having it structured and scheduled means that you're prioritizing the important things, and then it's locked in, it's in your schedule, that's what's going on, it's non-negotiable. That really has helped me mentally, you know execute and get through some tough stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it puts it concrete somewhere. And I'm someone that struggles with that. My boss and my leadership team in Jacksonville knows that too. And I shout out to them actually, because they just did a course called Do More in 24 that helped me a lot with organization, for myself and for my staff, and using a calendar and using, um, kind of organizing your email, which is another big thing for me too. Is I get lost in that stuff. But if I was better organized in that, then I would save myself a lot of time throughout the day,
Yeah.
because then I'm forgetting to respond to people. And then someone comes to me saying, "Hey, I reached out to you last week. Why didn't you respond?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, you're right. I'm so sorry." And that's what it is. It's like you're falling short of where you need to be. And these are simple things too. Responding to an email is not a big task, but it's doing that and expecting that of yourself to get those things done, because those are the small tasks that are super easy to execute on, but we forget to do that, or we fall short on doing that stuff, and then it just builds bad habits. It makes you look bad. It makes you
Small
look.
stuff is what
Yeah.
is what gets people. It's all about the small stuff. It's all about the minute detailed things for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a really good point.
I think it's just tough, because I came from a I'm a spontaneous person. I live in the moment. So you try and ask me what I'm doing 2 weeks from now, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I haven't even thought that far. I haven't even figured out what I'm doing next week. Like, can you chill? I don't know how to answer that question. So it's been an adjustment period, but I've gotten better at it. And I sat down on a Sunday and just went through and organized everything. And I got a new calendar on my phone so I can have reminders for things. And I actually used it today. I had a doctor's appointment and I had a follow up in a month. So I went and put in my calendar, which is unlike me. But
It makes
for
a
those,
difference.
oh, yeah. And for those out there listening too, like, I am following this podcast. I am going to set it, or hold myself accountable. And Jonah, you're going to do this for me too. I think we could talk about this after the pod and we can figure out ways that we want to hold each other accountable. We can be accountability partners here, but I'm going to limit my screen time. I just talked about, if you can't limit your screen time, then yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to limit my screen time. I need to be better at it. I'm going to be posting stuff for the one of none. I'm still going to be promoting it on my Instagram, and I'm going to push this stuff, but I am going to limit how much I consume because it takes too much. And I'm
Yeah.
going to fill it with other things too. I'm going to fill it with reading. I used to love reading so much, and when I moved to Jacksonville, I stepped out of that space, and I have neglected to take that on. And so I've been reinvesting in that part because it creates a lot of good
It's a good idea.
habits. But anyways, yeah. Besides the
Yeah.
point, I want to make sure that we're holding ourselves to the same standard that we're trying to preach right now. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be better at limiting my screen time, and I'm gonna have you be my accountability partner, and we can talk later about something that you want to do too. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because we
definitely
need.
do that too. Yeah,
Struggle.
I'm struggling on that.
So
There's one other thing I wanted to add before we're gonna probably start concluding this, I'm sure, but something will really help you with time management. Not only just time management in general, saving you time throughout the week, but also if one of your goals happens to be eating better and being healthier, is meal prepping. Meal prepping saves so much time. For me, Sunday is the day, church, grocery shopping, get everything I need, and then I'm meal prepping for the week, and all my lunches are done. That eliminates me spending time after work cooking every day. And then it also means I'm eating healthier. I'm not eating out at work. Even the days where we have reps come in and bring food, most of the time, I want to say like 90% of the time, I don't even eat the food they bring. I have my stuff is done. I've already took the time, spent the money to make the meal. I'm gonna eat it. So it saves me so much time, and it saves me eating bad during the week. Something I highly recommend. Andrew has meal prepped since he was an infant child.
this is true. If any of you listening, you know that about me, and my colleagues too know this. Like people make fun of me. It's like all I do is eat the same thing every single day.
I know,
But
me too.
even to that, Jonah, that I thought about is you're saving money too.
Oh, so
Like
much
right,
money.
like you could be you're saying eating out in general, so that could be bad food. You're saving money too, and that's why that leverages me against some other people is because you may enjoy the food you're eating when you're out, and maybe eating clean isn't that attractive to you. It doesn't matter to you. You can maintain the body you want while eating whatever you want. But for those who struggle with how much they spend through the week, that saves you so much of your money and it compounds. We talk about compounding a lot in here. That compounds just as much. And you realize if you were to do a spreadsheet of your spending habits, I guarantee a lot of y'all out there would struggle with that. And that's something that I'm proud of too. Now I do some employee lunches on Fridays with my colleagues and stuff, but that's just one day out of the week. And that's
80
pretty
20
much all that
rule.
I'm, yeah,
80
exactly.
20.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it saves a lot of money. And no one is mad about a little bit of extra cash flow and having some extra cash to use for other more important things, like buying $100 worth of books, like I just did this past week. My last one just trickled in today from Amazon, so I'm
I know.
just spending so much money on
I'm
books.
the
But
same like that. I'll get like 3 or 4 books at a time, and I always have like 2 books on the standby. I feel like.
I know. It's just I see deals that I want to use or I want to get a hold of, and I just buy them. I'm like, all right, this is like usually twice the price. I'm just gonna buy this right now. And then by the time I look at my checkout, it's like $100 or $120. But I could be spending it on way worse things.
Exactly.
So I'm not gonna try and nitpick that. But yeah, I think that's a good piece of it. And yeah, meal prepping's great for so many reasons. It keeps you in check, and you can make it taste really good too. I mean, you
For
don't have to do
sure.
anything crazy about it. I mean, I'm boring. I'm bland. I eat chicken and rice and broccoli pretty much every day.
I
But
know.
I,
Same thing.
I'm happy I do that because I don't have to think about that piece. I
That's another
don't
thing
have
too.
to
Yeah.
think. Like I
Yeah.
know what I'm cooking every single time. And I just got an air fryer too. Or yeah,
Dude,
yeah, an air fryer.
you don't have an air fryer?
No, dude. And
Oh
it has
man,
opened up my
I use
life
the same thing. Yeah,
to
air
a
fryer.
whole world
Oh yeah.
of different foods. So yeah, I mean, I love that stuff and super easy, and it's 21 days, baby. Just crank it
Yeah.
out in 21 days. Get in a habit of just meal prepping. You said that you go on Sundays, Jonah. You will like
Mhm.
meal prep on Sundays. I'm the type of guy that just buys on Saturdays because I'm not usually doing much on Saturdays. I'm either like going to the beach or waking up and surfing or something like that, or I'm going to the gym. So if there's a Publix right near my gym, so I'll just go to the gym in the morning, swing by Publix, grab all my stuff for the week, prep it on Saturday, and I'll be set. And I don't live with anyone here in Jacksonville either, so I have I just come home to myself. So I'm not spending a whole lot of time with a ton of people throughout my weekend, but I got ample time to do all that stuff. But still, like I don't have to think about it on Sunday. I wake up, go to church, and then I'm chilling the
Good to
rest of the
go.
day. Yeah,
Chilling.
cranking out some extra work or working on some pod editing or whatever the case is. So
Yeah, I have one other point to make here, which is something that one of your friends had brought up. I forget who it was.
Billy,
Billy?
probably, yeah, it was
Yeah.
Billy.
he brought this up. This is a great idea, and this goes into what you were saying about holding each other accountable. And anybody else who wants to get in with this, Andrew's talking about the 75 hard, and I'm definitely not going to let him do it by himself. So I'll be riding that wave too.
Let's go.
So I think what we're going to do is set up a Facebook or a Discord of some kind, something where we can communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who wants to join in, we'll put that information out there. Even if it's not the 75 hard, anything, just a daily grind. What's going on? What are you doing? Stay motivated, and we'll try and post, some stuff in there, or like post our workouts or whatever we're doing, and just to kind of all keep each other accountable. Yeah, I think that was a great idea.
Yeah. Shout out Billy on that one. Billy's a knowledgeable guy and lives his life as well. And he suggested that to us, and I think that's a great idea. It's a good accountability piece for something like this. And friends can get involved, strangers can get involved. It's a spot that you can come to with your stuff you're struggling with, to know that you're not going through it alone. And it makes you be one of none. Be one of none, or at least aim for that. That's the whole idea behind the podcast. This is for the common man. This is for the common woman who's just trying to get better, who's going through the daily grind and feels like they're really struggling. You are not alone in doing that. We do it every single day. We suffer every single day.
Yep.
And it's maybe to a more or lesser degree than what you're experiencing. But ultimately, we're all trying to become better. We're trying to become one of none and become uncommon amongst uncommon people. So I like that. I like the idea of the Discord. Let's roll that out. And I think that closes it for this episode. I loved talking about this stuff. You owe it to yourself. Owe it to yourself to hold yourself accountable. No one's going to come and help you with this. This is all you. So take advantage of people around you that can ride that wave. Like Jonah said, that was a spontaneous decision. Jonah and I did not talk about that prior to the podcast. He just told me on the spot right now that he was going to hop in that 75 hard. I got a homie I'm doing it with, Evan. He's the one that initially started talking to me about it. I've seen it a lot, but I've been wanting to do it. So I think for the people out there that are trying to get on a better lifestyle and routine, or just generate better routines, I think this is for you. So let's find a common spot to talk about this stuff.
I'll take care of that. No problem.
Oh yeah, easy. Yes.
And I'm going to be, anybody that follows David Goggins, I know we talk about this guy all the time, but the 4x48, or what is it? 4x48. Sorry.
Yeah.
Basically what that challenge is that you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours, which is a sicko challenge that it's on my calendar in my to-do box. It's been there for a couple months since I finished my marathon. So that's going to be coming up too, eventually here before the weather gets too cold into the fall and winter and stuff. I'll be banging that out. So if we get this Discord out, I'll be letting anybody who wants to join, I'll let them know, so we can kind of all start on the same time. And if nobody does it and it's just me, I'll still be doing it, and I'll let you guys know how much it sucks.
I need to hop in that with you. Now that you're doing 75 hard, I feel like I need to do that. And that's
there you go.
That's it. That's the benefits of keeping a circle small. Just going back to our second pod, our last pod that we put out, that is the advantage of having a small circle of people who can hold you accountable. And he didn't say anything. I just knew I needed to hop in that because he was doing it with me. And that's what your friends should do. So hop in it with us to do whatever you can do. If you can even if it's just going and being present in the gym, walking on the treadmill for 10 minutes, going for a walk outside, get exercise in every single day, and then try and add to that. I think it was difficult for me a year ago to hit a workout every single day. Like, it was very difficult for me to go even to the gym 5 days a week. And now I don't miss a day unless it's Sunday, where I'm doing like an active rest day. And so when 75 hard starts, we're going to be doing 2 of them every day. So you better get used to it.
Yeah. So that's going to be tough for me because I don't work out as much as Andrew does. So don't think that that's just going to be an easy thing. That's going to be tough for me. I'm going to have to really prioritize that and eliminate some things in my schedule to make that work. Probably involve getting up earlier than I do and getting something done before work, to be honest.
Yep. Well, let me close and say this, because we love to go on tangents a little bit when we talk, but this is par for the course with us. Time management. Cut out the screen time. I'm holding myself accountable. Jonah's holding me accountable. Put your phone on do not disturb if you can. If you can't do that, go onto an app or the settings on your phone and set a time limit on how much time you're spending on the apps. Create routines. Routines are going to help you effectively execute and reach the very goals that you want to, because ultimately that's what time management is. Everyone wants to squeeze more into the day and get more done throughout the day. That's time management 101. If you need to execute, you need to eliminate the factors that are limiting you from executing. Have accountability partners. Jonah's mine. I have tons of other friends that are of like mind to us that are holding me accountable, and make sure that you do all these things and you try to implement them. I know it's not easy to do, but you owe it to yourself. If you want to grow and you want to be successful and you want to just live a better life in general, do these things. These are going to help you and they're going to compound over time. Create habits. 21 days to create a habit. That's my spiel. That's my 2 cents on this. So
Yeah. And thank you guys again. Thanks for listening. And we hope that you find something in these podcasts that helps you. That's the whole purpose of this for us. So keep listening.
It's the Bricklayers podcast, baby. This is, you got to have a blue collar work ethic. So just get after it. Keep grinding. I know it sounds cliche as heck, but get out there, execute on your stuff. So we're coming back with a new pod coming up after this one. So be on the lookout and talk to y'all soon.
Yep. See you next time.
Peace. Go.